let's get into our album of the week, my brothers. Willie's pick for the week.
Yes, sir.
What was his name? Kevon?
Kevo Money.
Kevo.
Kevo.
Kevo Mooney.
Kevo Mooney.
I thought it was Money.
Mooney, Money. I don't know. What's the name of the album? I can't even find it.
It's Lucille's grandson.
Lucille's grandson. Yes, thank you, Willie. Lucille's grandson. Album of the week. Willie's pick. Kevo Monet. I don't know. We don't know.
Hey, why you making them sound French? Like
I don't know his name, man.
The album of the week.
That man from Memphis, ain't from Paris, but
the album of the week is Kevo.
Hailing from Memphis, Kevo Mooney.
Couldn't find a lot of info on him, by the way. Sorry to cut you off. Shout out Denzi. Shout out Denzi in the building.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Kevo Mooney. Album of the week.
Yes.
It was a nice vibe. Willie, did you have any takes from it? Being your pick, you know?
I didn't know it was gonna be like this. I actually kind of enjoyed the album. I listened to the album while under a bit of an influence. The only influence that I'm under is the Holy Spirit, amen. But no, on a very serious note, it was kind of vibey. It was like a sing-songy. I think it was a perfect back-to-back from last week's pick. It was kind of like I felt like he was like a mix of a couple artists again. I can't necessarily put my finger on it, but yes, sir, Denzel, the artist in the building. I couldn't necessarily put my finger on it. Did y'all feel like he was kind of like a mix of artists as well? Like, what were y'all's thoughts?
Yeah, I had a similar thought. I felt like he was. It was funny enough, you know. I mean, after looking into it a little bit, seeing that he was signed under who he signed, he's actually signed with Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like he sounded like a similar to an NBA YoungBoy type of sound. And it's interesting with him, you know, going through his legal issues, him not necessarily being able to drop music. They could be setting him up to sort of fill in his shoes. I'm not saying that necessarily he's of that same caliber, but he had a similar energy. I had a couple. I mean, the vibe was cool. I saw the NLE Chopper feature before I played it, and it sort of set the tone. I could definitely see that how he would fit in that realm. You know what I mean? It was a cool album overall. I had one standout track. That Uncle Charlie track was pretty tight. That was probably the one I would probably put a star next to.
I did like Uncle Charlie. There's a track I think called All Me Too that I liked. And then it was
that definitely gave me the young boy feel. That yes. All Me.
All right, yeah, I will say that. And then what was another track that I kind of liked? Oh wait, let me look. It was towards the end. It was towards the end.
The Dirk track with the Dirk feature stood out for me as well. I feel like Dirk is just, again, he's been in the game for his. I love his evolution and his progression in the game. He's just one of those artists that, again, you like to see win. You like to see when he drops. You like to see his features, all that. So just one of those levels of it, I feel like.
I agree. I do feel like that song itself, Dirk really it up. I feel like I also noticed that he actually dropped the EP earlier this year with that track sort of being the leading single off of it. So I'm thinking that this is him trying to take his push into the industry, trying to find a lane to fit in. A lot of artists find their way. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to see what he can do.
Leave Someday. That was definitely a vibe. That was a good one for me.
That AT was talking about. That's the last track on the album. That's also the track that he promoted earlier this year.
No, Leave Someday is earlier up on the album. Wait. Oh, I see it. Oh, yeah.
Willie didn't listen to the album of the week. It's okay.
No, I did.
It's all right.
No, it's on there twice. It's weird.
I think I didn't listen to the Lil Durk version now.
Really?
Yeah, I think I had turned it off because I thought it was repeating.
When I got there, I was like, "Oh, this is Durk." I was like, Durk went on there early, and then Durk snapped on the verse. So
but that would make sense that he's kind of using it. Maybe, you know what I mean? Especially nowadays with the streaming numbers, you see a lot of people kind of redropping stuff because it does kind of all bundle into that same first week numbers. And
are we fans of like people like redropping stuff though? Like, are we like? I don't know if I'm a fan of like, oh yeah, put this out. Let me repackage. I'm like, I know.
Well, Well, I mean, in this case, with the original song being, I mean, the original song, I guess, had, I mean, it seems like it had Dirk, but there's a chance that he made that original song Leave Someday for this album, and Dirk happened to hop on it before he dropped the actual album. He dropped the feature first,
Yeah.
the EP. But I mean, if you have a track that you feel like is your favorite track, I know that Leave Someday track without Dirk is the track that starred, you know, whatever for whatever it's worth on Apple Music. So maybe like that's one of the leading tracks on the album. But I feel like when you have a track and it's going well and you do a remix, I feel like that's classic. You know what I mean? That's okay. But I'm dropping the exact same track, you know what I mean, consecutively, or I'm not really a fan of that personally.
One thing that I will say I am a fan of, one thing I always respected Fabulous for is like when he redid, like when he did a remix, it would be a totally different beat. Like Shop Until You Drop joint, like the original was way different than the one that he threw like the Dream on and whatnot. And then when you listen to like the mixtapes, if he did a remix, it would be a different song, and I'd be like, that's what I like there.
Yeah.
It was really more of that out of box kind of thinking, and not just, hey, we could do that. We could do what works, but and honestly, looking back at all your points, it looks like he actually dropped it as an album, and it's literally called Leave Someday, and it's called Mooney Mix. So, and it has that same song in there twice. So it almost looks like he's redropped the same four or five times, almost that same song. But
yeah,
I mean, again, that plays into the streaming numbers nowadays. It's just like look at Cole with the Climb Back. You know what I mean? But does it fit? That's, I guess, where we have to ask ourselves: does it actually fit?
I think it depends. I think it depends on who's the artist.
Of course. Yeah. Well, because we've always seen people kind of drop songs early and call them singles and then obviously include them in the album. But nowadays it's a little bit more strategic, I guess you could say.
Kevo thing, that, like you said, that thing was dropped as an album, you know what I mean? Which is a little, and I feel like that's like the deluxe thing, I feel like that's a little different. Cole dropped that thing last year as like it was considered an EP or a mixtape or a 2-pack, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't considered a real album, and he only included one of those tracks on there. And I do feel like that one track does fit in the grand scheme of the album as well. That's one thing I mentioned after I listened to it. So it does. I mean, one thing you could say it depends on the artist, but I think part of that strategicness comes with being a great artist. So if you're a great artist, you're going to be able to do it a lot better than somebody who possibly is trying to get started. You know what I mean? It seems like Kevo's trying to get started, so he's trying to like build these streams up. Cole, I don't know if he's trying to build streams up. You know what I mean? So I don't know. The deluxe things too, I feel like it depends on your tier, possibly. You know, your artist tier. You know what I mean? So I guess I do agree with what you're saying with the artist thing, because like, you know, Drake can drop something twice, but like Willie drop something twice. You know what I mean? Is the question. You know what I'm saying? Does he have a reason to? Not really. You know, I mean, dropping a single is one thing, but a lot of these artists are so big they don't need to drop singles anymore. So it's interesting. You know, it does depend on when the cards you have to play, but I guess Kevo doesn't have a lot of cards to play. He has one big card to play, and he's gonna play it over and over again until he can't. You know what I mean? Which, you know, I can't really blame him. You know. But like things like Ye, like Kanye, like that's, you know, that's a little different. I feel like it's similar to the Fab thing, where like if you're reworking it, is it a new song at that point?
Yeah, I think if you're rework, like if I like I think anytime you can have a base structure and then like build upon it, and I do think you are, I guess, technically making a different song. I mean, something sounds different, or you're at least like reprising it in some way, shape, or form. But I think when you get to a lot of that industry jargon and like what's technically this, what's technically that. Oh, this is a mixtape. Oh, this is a playlist. Oh, this is an EP. I think the lines are getting just more and more blurred. I think that's why, you know, during our planning sessions all the time, we're like, let's just call it a project. Let's just call it a project, because I think a lot of this industry jargon is like, it's really, in my opinion, it's really just like for money. Like, oh,
Yeah,
this is this or this is not this because capital.
yeah, because capitalism. Yeah,
You
but
wanna know the funny thing about what you brought up, Willie, and what it makes me think? It's funny that we call this segment that we do every week album of the week. You know what I mean? Rather than project of the
All right,
week.
no, all right. Well, that's a good point. Hey, yo, next week is gonna be project of the week. We change
that's messed me up, man. Damn. Like, we talk about it every week. We never.
every week. Yeah. All right. So we already changing that now. It's project of the week now.
Like,
Like I'm not doing that.
It's in a mixtape. Like,
We calling it an album. Yeah, album of the week. So it's POTW now. P of the
Yeah, I mean,
POTW.
but don't that? I mean, I guess no, but I mean, we laughing, but like that makes sense. Like
yeah.
just like project of the
It
week.
does.
Like
It's just funny because like we just realized this and we've been doing this for a while. It's all good. You know
think
what I mean?
about think about the times we did it as well, and like it was like it was we were definitely picking just regular like EPs and stuff like in previous
Yeah,
seasons.
literally
Like,
for a reason. Because so it was like
and still calling it album of the week. Like that's like getting food and it's like, yeah, this is like the lunch of the day. Like lunch, I don't know. It's kind of like 9 a.m. and I haven't eaten yet. I would call this breakfast. Well, we're just gonna call it a meal of the day. It's like, man, we've been calling this lunch of the day for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Fuck this up.
But yeah, but back to the point with the singles, with it being almost controlled by artist tier in terms of how you can drop, it almost creates a monopoly where it's like lopsided. Like, you know what I mean? Like once you become like top 5 or something like
I look at it kind of like more like an oligarchy than a monopoly because like you have somebody that may not be a quote unquote top tier artist, but if they drop something, we pay attention. Like something like that. Somebody in that vein that I would say would be like a Janae Aiko, where like her album may not be number 1, 2, or through 10, but if she drops, we pay attention.
Facts.
her album be going top 10, top 5.
Every time.
Definitely went top 5.
Like Cole goes top every time.
But that's two different. Cole and Janae Aiko are two different industries, and they are two different levels.
I think Cole is on a higher tier.
R&B is way murkier than. I mean, Janae Aiko ain't even in, like, you don't even say. Would you put Janae Aiko on a playlist with Beyonce? No, they're just two different levels of R&B.
But I will put Chris Brown there.
Chris Brown.
Oh, here we go with Chris Brown.
But
Here
you
we
got
go.
but Chris Brown is top tier. If Chris drops something, whether we like it or not.
So in hip hop though, how do you compare that? Because I can put J. Cole in a playlist with Drake and Kendrick, and they're, you know, but in terms of like, that's why R&B
I think they're all top tier though. I think Drake, Cole, and Kendrick are all like top tier though. I would not put Janae Aiko in it.
No, I'm not arguing that. I'm talking about their particular audience and how big their audience is. So, you know, I mean, you're talking about like the lane they're in. Like hip hop itself is a larger lane than the R&B lane. Like you have to be like pop R&B in terms of like Beyonce or something like that.
The Weeknd,
in order to
yeah.
transcend and be like, it don't matter. I'm singing, I'm doing R&B because I'm that good. But like everybody else is sort of like in this spot. They're like working artists. You know what I mean? I feel like they're like, besides somebody who has like just clout, somebody like Usher or something like that, if they drop something, they're gonna go top 5 because they Usher. Similar to Beyonce, like if her music, I'm not saying because she has a strong fan base. This is how it is. You know what I mean? Even if her quality music did drop, it wouldn't matter. You know, she would still do crazy numbers.
She has the Beehive.
And that's similar to a point. You know what
The
I mean?
Hive.
You know what I mean? Drake, Cole, and Kendrick as well. They're at that point. But that's what I'm saying. It's like in terms of like the monopoly, because like Janae in her lane, she almost has her own lane. You know what I mean? Like nobody is in Janae's lane. You know what I'm saying? I don't really see anybody in her lane. She's like,
you wouldn't throw a Daniel Caesar in the Janae lane ish. I feel like the same people that listen to Janae would listen to a Daniel Caesar.
You can try to do that, but I don't consider Daniel Caesar to be up to, you know what I mean? Like,
okay,
You know what I mean? You put Khalid in that lane. Khalid is still not doing numbers like Janae. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
True.
Caesar. Same with who else you want to put in there?
Her.
Kelani. Kelani wouldn't even fall in that lane. You know what I'm saying? So
Kalani's like in a weird like
her, you
space.
could put her in that lane. Her in that lane possibly.
Why?
In Janae's lane. She gonna drop another EP. You know?
What's my whole thing is like, what happened to where like somebody like her jumped ahead? I mean, hers like don't get me wrong, hers been signed since she was a kid,
Like Prodigy.
Yeah, but like the mainstream emergence seemed a bit meteoric, for lack of a better phrase. So, how did something like the rise of her kind of overdo the rise of like a Kelani? Kelani seemed to like, I don't want to say she plateaued because she's still like in one of the top tiers, but like it's like she went to where she was and she stayed there.
Kelani had way more stuff going on in the media. That was one reason why her was so interesting, because she had nothing going on in the media. You know what I mean? So it was like two different spectrums. You didn't even know what her looked like. You know what I mean? Her name was her type shit. Nigga, you know what I mean? It was like a whole situation for a couple of years till you kind of wear that out a little bit. You know what I mean? But Kelani, she was dating Kyrie. She was dating Party. You know what I mean? She had some issues.
At the same time.
At the same time.
And then she got a baby with YG, I think, right? Is that YG's baby? I may be wrong.
I don't know, nigga. Who baby is it?
Yeah.
She don't know.
I don't want to say it's YG's baby, but I know she's dating YG. So it's like she her stuff, because she was a spokesperson she was real out there with herself. She gave her true stuff out to the world, and that comes with negatives and positives. You know what I mean? Some people, that's why her fan base is so about it, because they roll with her through a lot of that stuff. I'm happy, and they're happy she's okay. She has a kid now. You know what I'm saying? Just her lifestyle out there. So she got to a point where she was doing a different level of marketing. She came up differently than her. Her was set up by the labels. They wanted to make her something, like you said, she was signed from a young age. You know what I mean? She didn't drop anything for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So she was just sort of nurtured a little differently by the labels and I guess the powers that be.
Thank God she wasn't nurtured by R. Kelly.
Hey, I think she came at the right time. But Kelani, speaking of Kelani, you know, her last album, she's trying to take that step forward. You know what I'm saying? She's had her baby. She's sort of become a different version of herself. Like, she's more sure of herself. Her music has gotten better. You know what I mean? I think I can say that. You know, so I think that's a little different career arc. I'm wondering to see what her do. But I want to see what she does, because this will be telling to sort of as to what we can expect going forward. You know what I mean?
Do you think her is like the closest thing we've seen to like, and not in style, but in like
essence?
The essence, yeah, of like a Lauryn Hill?
No.
Okay.
Just because.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that comparison.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, because she's so so inconspicuous or whatever, and she's like off in the cut. But like, that's what I mean. Like, she kind of overplayed it to the point with the way where I'm kind of like just waiting for her to do something. You know what I mean? But with Lauryn
drop
Hill,
an EP.
But with Lauryn Hill, it was a different energy. You know what I mean? She was
She ain't dropped no EPs, that's for sure.
Shut up. She dropped an album, and it was considered the best album ever, and she went ghost, and she never dropped again. So it's like, I don't even know if we could find a comparison nowadays to try and compare it to someone like Lauryn Hill and the impact she had. You know what I mean? That was another thing. Lauryn Hill changed the game. You know what I'm saying? So,
yo, did you know that all right, this is a little Lauryn Hill side note. Did you know that like the rumors of like, oh, you gotta call her Miss Hill, like if you play for Lauryn Hill?
Lauryn Hill apparently is a whole character, but
bro,
her impact on the game is unquestionable, and the music she made is also goated. You know what I'm saying? That album, top to bottom, crazy. So, and that's the thing. Like, That's why Lauryn Hill was who she was, and then what she stood for, and at least what it seemed like. You know what I mean? And now now it's a little different. You know, generational changes. I don't know. Like you said, the rumors. I don't know if they rumors. So I don't know, but I heard a lot of rumors about
No,
Miss Hill.
Robert Glasper was like, I played for Lauryn Hill. That's true. And I was like, oh. He was like, I'm not gonna call her Miss Hill.
About and late stuff, and then not. You know, there's a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. You know, I do feel like bigger artists. We talked about this before with Smills about last week. Shout out Smills. You know, at AKA Smills, ILLZ on IG. He was we were talking about these younger artists being able to break through. You know what I mean? And how you really talk about how you got to be that good in order to break through in some cases, because the bigger artists just have this monopoly set up on it. You know what I mean? And we find that monopoly type of setting in a lot of different places. You know what I mean? I actually saw something the other day with Sony being in a lawsuit, you know what I mean, about in regarding some monopolizing situation with the way they monopolize the pricing in their games. You know what I'm saying? I'm curious if that's going to lead to a cascading effect across industries, including the music industry. You know what I mean? And how music distributors go about pricing their stuff. You know what I mean? Because iTunes, I watched this podcast last week, No Jumper podcast with Joe Budden as a guest, and they were talking about music, talking about iTunes and Apple Music, you know, and what's the difference between paying for Apple Music and buying the album on iTunes, and whether it's worth it. You know, there's not really a change in experience for the consumer. Will, did you have something to say?
Oh no, I just said Denzel, the artist, put a comment. He said, "Put some respect on her name. Call her Miss." I'm not. I'm not doing that. That is Lauren. That is. I don't care. I don't care.
The Lauryn Hill.
I don't care if like you know how pissed I would be if like she like signed autographs. I'm like, oh, I love her music, Lauren. She like, it's Miss Hill, and I'm like, no, it's not. Like, it's not. I'm not calling, bro.
You just look at that.
Bro, stop the tomfoolery. Okay, that's all I had to say. Though, yeah. And I don't think it's a disrespect thing. It's just no, that's not what we're doing.
But back to Stacey's point, though, I feel like as we see this kind of the new industry evolve, I feel like people are beginning to set their own price, which kind of takes away from the monopoly. There's kind of no middleman anymore. At least there's not a need for the middleman.
I mean,
stuff like coming out, you know, with coming interesting situations. I'm interested though, like, cause okay, I don't know if you guys noticed at all. I probably should do some research on this, you know. But is there a difference in? Okay, so if you buy an album, you know what I mean.
Yes.
That's definitely a difference in the contract in terms of percentage as to what the artist gets and the label gets in regards to like buying an album and playing a song 1,000 times, right?
Fact.
What's the ratio? You know what the ratio is in terms of that stuff? In terms, like, because I know it's different.
I feel like different per deal. You know what I mean? It's per basis kind of thing.
And go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. But you look at things like Tidal, where they boasted they were giving like how much to artists? Like 50%?
More than 15? Oh, I don't know about all that, but
50%? Like, was it like 6?
I just know their streams, like their payout on streams was higher. You know what I mean? And that's where it's kind of like setting the value on certain things. And that's where I get where you're coming from. Like, does it change the experience? You look at like a digital game versus a hard copy of a game. Like, no, it doesn't change the experience necessarily at all. But how do you want to have the game? Yes.
That's like the thing is like, if I buy it on, okay, I have a PlayStation 4, so I'm a Sony member or whatever. I'm a PlayStation Plus member, so I buy some games digitally. The only reason I buy them digitally is because they're cheaper. They can be 60% cheaper than I would if I were to go buy them in a store. You know what I mean? And that's sort of the thing. But it's like there's a benefit to them there. But with the iTunes and like an Apple Music situation, so I've never like turned off my subscription for Apple Music. If you were to stop paying, you just don't have this music anymore, right?
I guess so.
That is correct. But you never had it. You never owned it.
So
that you were just given access through subscription. So like that's what I'm saying. Like there's no ownership when it's a subscription. Subscriptions are only access. Like it's like an NFT. Like if I own the NFT, like you can look at this like Nancat or whatever like all you want, but you don't own it. Like I'm just giving you the ability to enjoy it. And I think that's how subscriptions have messed up the game really, where it's like none of us own anything anymore. Like I go on Netflix and I have a myriad of movies and shows and documentaries, all on demand and at my disposal. Yeah. And the day you don't pay, you no longer have access and you're shut out. And it's almost like, were you gonna buy all of those anyway? Like, does it benefit to buy? I feel like subscriptions are great, but you should buy the things that actually mean something to you. Like,
so with music, and I feel the same way. I've had streaming services for years, in terms of music since they've been a thing because it was such a convenient way to consume music. But I've tried to make it a point to purchase albums that I revere and albums that I love. You know what I mean? I try to make it a point to do that because I understand that I want to try and support. You know what I mean? Same with trying to go to shows when I can. I try to go to the show. You know what I mean? Because of that reason, I know this money is gonna. It's not gonna get lost in the shuffle. It's mostly going to them in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But it's like all the artists out of luck, man. Like that's what I'm saying. These local artists, you might get like a couple million streams off of like a song, and it's like if you can't do it again, it's over. You know what I mean? It's just it's so volatile.
Facts.
The industry is entirely volatile, man. It's like it's scary because this is all new. You know what I mean? This is relatively new in the past 10 years that it's sort of shifted in this realm, but it shifted so quickly to a point where like artists are popping purely off of streams. And then what's happening after that? Like, you know what I mean? Like Pull Up With a Stick. Who was that? Sada Baby. You know what I mean? It's like, where is it? You know what I mean? It's like he dropped that track. It was crazy. Got a lot of views on YouTube streams. Got a lot of streams on Apple Music and plays on Spotify and stuff, streams. And he just, I'm assuming he couldn't do it again. You know what I mean? It's like he do features and stuff like that. This is how you get there because your name is on this track. But it's like you drop a track, what happens? You know what I mean? It's scary, man. Because a lot of people look at it. They look at they have this blueprint from hip hop itself is pretty young, but they have this blueprint from the early days that happened, and you were able to keep going, but it's just different, man. It's crazy. You really gotta have plan B, C, D in some cases, or else like A. I mean, like Cole say, what he said. No, plan A ain't no plan B.
I mean, unless you work with Joe Budden.
Damn. You gotta have multiple.
You gotta have A through Z if you're working with Joe Budden because you will not own anything. But like that whole situation is like a prime example of like, yo, why is Locke dying over there? But no, for real, like, and that's a perfect example of how like there's totally a difference between profit sharing and equity. Like totally a difference. I can split profits with you all day, but if you don't actually own it, you have no say. And it's just interesting how like the whole debacle was like, oh, we need to see the accounting. Like they need to see the accounting. I'm like, they should have called AT. Like
I can't speak on it. I can't speak on the details because I think they haven't released the whole other pod, and I haven't seen the other response pod where Rory and Mar letting they side off.
Yeah,
I can't believe it's 2021 and they're sending pod responses. It's like pod these days. It's crazy.
Diss pods, that's a whole nother realm, bro. It's
2021.
Like, when you give hip hop another realm to start talking shit, man.
If I ever left the pod, y'all would do a diss pod out on me.
For fun, at least, yeah. For, like we would talk. It
Will
made
said that with no hesitation.
like,
He said, "Yeah."
it's like, yeah, man.
You
18.
gotta make it
But
more of like an AT roast though.
Yeah,
That
but
shit-
like,
because it's
I'm
money. It's
gonna be
money.
chilling there like Maul was during the response. He was like, my karma is great, my aura is great. I'm blessed. Like, I'm like, bro, if you keep saying this,
did you
like,
pay for it too, Willie?
No,
Again,
no, that joint was on. They bootlegged that and showed it to the world immediately. I think it was live streamed from behind the paywall. I'm like, yo, we got. But the same thing go with the with Joe's Patreon joint where he was when he
that's what I'm saying.
when he fired. So like, all right, let's go into this because we just got finished talking about equity and we talked about equity so many times. But like, yo, what is the point of a paywall now if your user base gets large enough, your stuff is just getting leaked same day?
Amen.
You're still getting a percentage of some type of money. You know what I mean? Someone's still buying. It's still some type of money coming in, and you know what I mean. Yeah, people are gonna bootleg it, but it's back to my point. Like, at least you're directly connecting, and the people that want your stuff and that will pay for it, and again, value. It's like we're not paying for it. Why? Because we don't value it as much, even though it is entertainment to us, and we are, you know what I mean. We do want to watch it, but it's like we don't want to pay for that necessarily.
No, that makes
so
sense.
It's like, what is our value on this?
The people that pay for it will be the people you want to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? It's just is what it is. The people that buy it will be the people that matter. You know, people that would do something with it, that will take action off of it. You know what I mean? Go do something with the information. It's just, it's just how it is. Same thing with it's just the age we live in. You still gotta do business. You know what I'm saying? Just because
It's business.
you might lose some. Hey, shout out Rico. Even though you might lose some, man, you still got to go out there and make some,
It's like who's stopping somebody right now from watching our content, stream capturing all of it, and then reposting it on their channel. Again, it's the value in it. You know what I mean? Same way, like if you thought, hey, if I'm gonna put $2 in Rory and Maul's video, but I'm gonna screen record it and share it and get 80K views on my YouTube channel because of it, is that worth it? That's worth it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the value. Where's the value? What do you place in the value?
Yeah. Just to make sure, it's same thing with like streaming fights or something like that. It's like if you really don't want to miss nothing, like you're gonna buy it. It's just how it is. Like otherwise you might just stream it and just that's what it is. The person that's streaming it is gonna buy it, but he gonna have ads and shit on his webpage that he's streaming it on, getting money, all that. Niggas donating. It's like, it's worth it type shit. I might get in trouble, but I'm making bread. You know what I mean? It's definitely worth it. So just depends. But even with the business, like there are people that are buying it. They're still bringing more people to attention, which is still whatever. People still watching it. I remember I saw something that this is an old bar from Tyga off of No Ceilings, Wayne's No Ceiling. He said buy it, steal it. Either way, I'm still gonna get my percentage. I don't care. You know what I mean?
And that's facts.
No, that's not facts. If somebody steals something, you do not get your percentage. You get the exposure.
They steal your shirt and they out repping it. And they're like, hey, man, they stole it for a reason, bro.
Yeah, no. It's because you hot. Yeah.
Niggas like, hey, that shirt hard. Hey, he spent money on it. Hey, I might have to go spend that money. Niggas don't know they stole that shit.
I remember.
If I rip somebody's music around bumping that shit loud as fuck, man, I just got the album. I've been trying to get this shit all day. I'm bumping this shit loud as hell. Now everybody hear that shit. Now everybody think I bought it. Everybody like, hey man, maybe it's worth it to buy it. He having a good time. They go out and buy it. They don't know I stole that shit. Same thing with me watching the fights for free. I'm like, oh, I'm getting hit. But it's like, maybe, I might buy that shit because it might be worth it type shit.
I remember reading 50 Cent's book and he was talking about like how he would like bootleg his own stuff in the streets and have somebody else sell it to help build up hype.
It's business. They're like, oh man, this crazy.
Calculated.
Oh, why does it sound like this? I gotta hear the real song. This shit worth it. You know what I mean? It's just give them a taste, man. Even if it's like, and they know that it's not the real thing. That's the thing. Like,
you gotta give people that cocaine.
Okay.
No, but no, it's just like you.
Analogy. That's a tough analogy, bro.
But it's just like you give somebody a taste, and if you really came with some heat,
we could have said food, bro. We could have just said food. Give them a sample. You know what I mean? Give them a sample of the food. If it's tasty, you can get a whole sandwich of this. Just and they can fill your stomach up with this shit for $6, and you got this one for free. You know, I mean, it's cool, but you know it's worth the $6. You know what I mean? Let's do that. Let's not do the drug reference. Let's keep it. You see, yeah, because it's 50. That's why you said it. Come on.
No, man, it's not because it's 50, man. It's just, that was, just
50 don't care. 50 petty. He would cancel us. We ain't even on yet.
He's not even on. What if that one we would be on if 50
if
drilled
50
the shit out of
shit.
If 50 drilled the fuck out of Willie for no reason.
50 on 50, start dissing 50, get 50 to say something about us, and we just make it. Like, hey, that's what 50 did. Hey.
Man, I would value that. I value that.
People like, hey, I read Willie B's book, and he was talking about how he bootlegged his own podcast. Like 20 years.
Then Willie B just started wearing suits for no reason. Just like no reason, just started wearing suits.
Rags. What you gonna say, T?
I was gonna ask if 50 ever dropped the EP.
Probably.
Hey, his video game, would that be considered an EP?
I guess.
It has some heat on it.
I miss those games.
I like music videos. Bad news for me, man. I had that game when I was like 11. I was watching shit like Magic Stick, like 8. It's crazy. It's a crazy video.
Unlike, I got the Magic Stick.
After 12, whatever it was. That game was crazy, though. Honestly, one of the go-to games ever. I don't know if you ever played Bulletproof.
Nah.
I'm surprised AT ain't saying nothing. If you ain't played Bulletproof, you ain't really familiar why. So,
I feel like I had 50 Bulletproof? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. I played all them games, so I missed them Def Jam games and
Def
shit.
Jam Vendetta was the greatest game.
Them games were all created purely based off the fact that beef was a pure part of hip hop. Do y'all still think that's still a thing now? I feel like people try to make it a thing and people just don't allow it.
I think in today's musical landscape, it doesn't matter as much for sure. But I think that's because the market is more saturated. And I'm talking about the mainstream market. Like mainstream beefs have less, for lack of a better phrase, like stick-to-itiveness over a course of time due to the fact of like, we don't have time to pay attention to each step of this beef. Like when you had that whole Ice Cube NWA beef, like they were the people you were listening to, okay, in the late 80s and early 90s. Like it was just like, hey, we gonna pay attention to this.
Well, in my case, I'm talking about. I'm mentioning like 50s way that he used it. Like NWA, that wasn't political.
Okay,
that was real. But I'm talking about 50s. All
his
beef was political.
As a marketed ploy. Okay.
Yeah, his beef against Jay-Z was political. His beef against Ja Rule was political, and he was honestly successful in every way in the body. Even his beef against Ye, that was all political, and he did it really well, and he succeeded. He completed his goal every single time, and I feel like there's other people that have used beef in a way to say stuff. I don't want to even say this. I'm a big fan of Push. I'm a big fan of Pusha. But Drake made a line, people got hot last year because they told on me off of that Omerta track. And he's talking about Pusha, where Pusha was talking about him. And Pusha's album did really well because of that political beat. Pusha like 40. Pusha ain't no business to be mad at somebody and rap about him, but Pusha know what it could do for his album. I'm just interested if you guys think it's still viable now, unless like Pusha's like, top tier, going against another top tier, which is like, he needed it. I feel like he still helped him with his album, but 50 Cent used the Jay-Z beef to almost get his foot in the door. Jay-Z didn't even really respond to him, and he still kind of got his foot through the door with it. And then he used the Ja Rule beef to sort of solidify his area and solidify his regional dominance in a sense over in the Northeast, over in NY, at least in his tier. And then the stuff against Ye was just pure like hip hop, and he was trying to just beat Ye in terms of like that realm. Do you think that's still something that we'll see going forward, or because people done got back to shooting people now? So I don't really know.
I think it's just theatrical. It's more theatrical now. You know what I mean? At least with the top tier artists. You're not
with a top tier artist, you got a whole lot to lose. Like if you are like on the come up, you can go shoot somebody, and then you could spend Joe Schmurder time in jail.
But
He's
also,
right.
I kind of see where Willie's point was going, where he is like, hey, it's based on the fact that, um, where at the end of the day, with the fucking music shit and like just some of the theatrics behind where shit is now and how internet based the culture is and how short minded people's minds are and how, you know what I mean, we gravitate to things for you know what I mean, we gravitate so much and put so much energy into things that don't really matter, and then next day it's like we don't care about it at all. It's like that type of stuff is the same type of theatrics we see in the music, where it's like people will cancel somebody for some stupid shit, and then next day we're just like, all right, did that even really happen?
That's
Where are
fair.
we at now? So it's like
Willie's point.
I was gonna say it's just everyone does shit for the image now. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not back to where you were talking. It's like 50 and Kanye, that was more musical based. You know what I mean? Same with 50 and Jay. Like it's like I'll rap you. My music is gonna hit a little, it's gonna hit the streets a little bit harder than your shit. You know what I mean? It was still like now it's more like, all right, I'm gonna do this for the image, the theatrics of it. So I don't know.
I do think
That's
when it comes also to the beef industry, I don't know if that's a whole like industry.
Like McDonald's. Has McDonald's dropped the EP before?
No, but Wendy's has.
Damn.
Yeah, that was like a whole thing, and it was
The
like
Wendy's
they was like
EP.
dissing. Yeah, they was like dissing people and stuff. Talking about they beef is never frozen. Like I was like,
Damn.
oh yeah, they throwing shots, and then like McDonald's was just like, we own real estate, son. But
oh,
but no, on a serious note, I think the landscape of like the beef industry, it just it doesn't stick the same way it does, and I do believe cancel culture has a bit to do with it. Not the only, but one of the major problems though with cancel culture is like we cancel before we investigate, and I think when things are left up to the court of public opinion, like it never goes well. It never goes well, and I don't know what we need to. I think people want to get information so fast and so like up to date that they don't necessarily garner all the facts together to kind of figure out what's really happening there. The same thing even goes for you know, I remember when like Rhapsody made a song and then like J. Cole even had said a response, but then the whole like thing that we was talking about was like, was he even mentioned and like why did he feel that way? And it's like, and then the court of public opinion was like, oh, they throwing shots, she's throwing shots at Cole, throwing shots at Kendrick maybe, and it's just like we don't necessarily think that's true, but I think people are just so into hype, so into the ooh gotcha moment, and I feel like that takes away from the integrity of music though. So I actually hope that we see less beefs because I do want to see a little bit more integrity with the music. Not necessarily from a lyricism standpoint, but just where somebody goes in to make good music and not necessarily try to come up with a marketing ploy that is like a defamation of someone else.
personally, I love beef. I'm like, yeah, I think it's competition. I think it makes it fun. I think it has its spaces, you know, at certain people realms of whatever, like certain lanes of hip hop, but maybe not everywhere. But and I do think it should stick to, you know, the craft itself. It should, I mean, the personal jabs. Shit can be fun, you know what I mean? Making fun of somebody, making jokes, whatever. It's like roasting. I grew up around roasting culture and like making fun of people, and it's fun. It's fun. I think I can, if you can appreciate, if you can be a good sport about it, then that's cool. And you just come back with something else. Come back harder.
I just feel like some artists aren't a good sport with it, and I think that's where
That's the problem,
that's the problem. So it's kind of like when it comes to beef, it's like, would you rather have beef, and then you got people who aren't good sports and kind of take it too far and then start talking about people's baby moms and stuff, or are you gonna have more like a friendly competition? Like I really do think the 50 one was like a friendly competition. I don't think this Pusha T Drake one was friendly.
Yeah, that wasn't
Like
friendly at all.
when you go for the jugular, like it's just like, no sir.
I think the Kendrick stuff though. Kendrick when he was like doing, when remember the Cypher freestyle where he mentioned like put a soft raptor back in his pajama clothes or something like that. He was kind of talking about Drake. He dropped a couple bars about Drake. The Control verse where he mentioned like everybody. I think that's fun. You know what I mean? You know, and same with Rhapsody sort of making like a PSA sort of track. Like you said, I can't say she was talking specifically about anybody, but I think that's cool. Same with Cole dropping something because he felt like he was addressed. That's cool too. I feel like that's dope. I feel like that's rappers challenging each other to do something. You know what I mean? And even in their case, it was more centered around social justice, which is maybe not the realm I wanted to take.
You're talking No Name and Cole, not Rhapsody, right?
Yeah. Willie B said Rhapsody earlier, and I stuck it in my head. Yeah, No Name. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, my bad. My mistake, y'all. Correction.
They in the same sort of realm too, so I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Rhapsody doing something like that. But he but like I'm talking, but I like more like the control.
Are we missing something like that then? I mean, obviously Cole just dropped, and it's gonna be more bigger acts we hope are gonna be dropping, at least in hip hop. There has been some more bigger acts, I guess, musically to drop, notably Justin Bieber. Nicki just dropped as well this week.
That mixtape she dropped, yeah.
I feel like who else has been big, like not just in hip hop that's dropped, I guess. What are you thinking?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why Cole is doing but it's Cole, but still he's doing like the biggest numbers of the year by a long shot. You know what I mean? Drake was set to drop. A lot of people were set to drop, and they just didn't. So
yeah.
It is what it is. Hopefully this, like I said last week, hopefully this starts like a momentum shift in the industry. People will want to think they see it's okay to drop and make something happen. I also feel like Cole's album was like a soft type of competition type of thing. Just talking about how, like, even on Applying Pressure, he's talking about at the end, he says something like, do it in front of that dude, how do it the way you want to do it like nobody else could ever do it, so that they know type thing. And it's, I feel like that's subtle, not so subtle, but it's more general to like the entire industry. I think stuff like that is cool. Kendrick, I feel like was way more legit. I mean, not legit, but way more direct, because he would be like names and stuff. He's like Big Sean, like Cole. I'm like, dang, bro, you just saying everybody. Kind of Tyler the Creator, Mac Miller. I'm like, oh my god.
Who's out here trying to beef with Tyler? Like,
what? Tyler was
Khaled.
Back when he dropped that, Tyler also don't sleep on Tyler. Tyler got it.
No. But I'm just saying, why? Who hate? Like, why would you hate Tyler?
That's not beef. That's what I'm saying. That's not like bad beef where it's like, hey, I don't like you. And he literally said that in there. And I think at the end he said our names. I got respect for you all, but I'm trying to murder you. And that's just out of competition. I think that's what it's about. Because the fact he called him out is a level of respect where it's like, I'm saying your name. I'm talking about you because I see what you're doing and I see you as competition and I'm showing you what I can do. And I want to see what you can do, and it's all for the betterment of hip hop. You know what I mean? If people get comfortable, they get comfortable and the music starts getting weak. I feel like that's just, that's why I'm happy that Cole dropped. I'm happy that people starting to drop that, sort of have that status, because more eyes get on hip hop. People start getting bigger expectations for the music, and people gotta deliver.
Okay.
So that's why I was mad about Big Sean dropping. And I was like, what is this? So like I saw Big Sean up, man, yeah. But hoping he drop again this year too.
Who, Sean?
Yes.
Is he slated to? I mean, I guess we never know anymore.
Yeah, I'm about to say
like yo, like I feel like I sound old, but I was about to say back in the day, but I feel like a little while ago, like I feel like you had a rough idea, like, hey, they about due to drop an album, you know what I'm saying? But like now it's kind of like, yo, where's an album been? It's like Rihanna, what's going on here? But it's like, oh, I'm busy. It's like, man,
doing so many other things, but like, yeah, I'm not making music right now. Kind of like how Willie won't even give us an EP, but it's all right. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say, it's just, I think it's time. I think hopefully again, Cole, we're seeing tours get booked now. We're seeing a little bit bigger acts drop. It's like people back outside again.
We outside.
We love talking about being outside, so people back outside and shit. So I don't know. I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever the future holds. I'm ready for some things to get shaken up, thrown some wrench in there, you know what I mean? And people just like, all right, we got to deal with it now. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's what your life needs, not only personally, individually, but that's what sometimes societies need, cultures need. You kind of need that wrench in there every once in a while, just so you can kind of test and gauge where you're at, be aware of where you're at, and be like, hey, shit not always gonna be up. You know what I mean? You're gonna take some losses and you're gonna have to rebound, or you're gonna have to take this moment of conflict and have to adjust from it, whatever it be. So I'm ready for it. I'm waiting. Y'all know I'm always prepped for the worst. I'm prepared for the worst. I'm aiming for the best.
No, yeah. No. You like, I really like your level of preparedness, because like not only when you have like a level of preparedness, you kind of are not necessarily on guard, but you're more aware of what's going on, and you don't have to ask certain questions. But then also, if you you stay top on things like like your accounting, like you don't end up like Rory and Maul, where they didn't get to see the accounting, like and then they just got a spreadsheet. They got
spreadsheet.
They just got a made up spreadsheet. Because they didn't have access. Rory and Maul didn't even have a subscription. Think about that. Like, they didn't own it, and they didn't even have a subscription that gave them access. Come on, they didn't have a login. You didn't have a login team. Like, like you didn't have the login. You didn't have the credentials, and then like you couldn't see the numbers. Like you couldn't get the accounting. How'd you do your taxes? Like you just took the made up spreadsheet with the wrong numbers, and you just went with that. I don't know. That's just me. Like. That stuff ain't adding up.
Hey, man. That's what I'm saying. I got to watch both of those, understand. We'll see how this unfolds over time.
And
the way group podcasts look in the future as well,
Hey, Denzel said, dang, not the Rory and Maul stab. I'm not stabbing at him. I'm just saying, like, I know my account. I know my numbers.
I know my numbers. But also, again, back to what you were kind of saying earlier in the pod, Willie, that's why sometimes before you get to certain levels, you got to create the infrastructure. Because if we have a business and there's clear lines, hey, you own 50%, I own 50%. Yeah, I mean, that's a clear definition. If things change, if there has to be some type of adaptation or amendment for things to change. But as of right now, it's 50-50 or it's 25. You know what I mean? Whatever the percentages are. But if you're just, hey, that's the homie, and he just pays me out of what he makes because it's his name on it.
What do you expect?
Exactly.
But my other thing is, I will commend Rory for like from day one. That's what he was trying to do. But it's just like you should notice that you kind of getting a runaround when it goes to this.
It didn't work if y'all went through like a whole deal.
Yeah, they've been trying to see the accounting since 2019.
I don't want to comment on it too much. I don't know what the hell is going on.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Yeah, I had watched that whole thing, and I was just like, yo.
Surface level opinion, and I just don't want to, it's interesting. I really want to know what happened because it's interesting, man.
And I believe Rory and Maul. I honestly do. I
believe, at this point, I believe everybody because they all got it's all opinion based.
Yeah. But even in me believing Rory and Maul, that's like, it's my. And I'll leave it at this. Don't like that's like us on the show talking about Megan Thee Stallion taking bad deals.
Yeah.
And then, which is what they do. Half of the show was talking about people taking bad deals. And so like at the end of the day, you're gonna end up being like, we kind of got a bad deal.
I know. That's why I'm like, that's my problem, bro. That's why I'm like, I have some strong opinions right now. You feel me? I just can't go forward because I just know that they're surface level and I need to just look at it a little more and I'll have an actual opinion, and more will come out. You know what I'm saying? So
of course.
We'll see. But it's a mess over there right now. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate for hip hop podcasts because they was like the one. You know what I mean? It was, it's cool though.
Definitely pioneers.
Without doubt. Without doubt.
I feel like if there ever becomes like a podcast Hall of Fame, like Joe, Rory, and Maul should be in it.
They like straight up the pioneers of that hip hop podcast situation and sort of create a lane that looks viable for a lot of people. You know what I mean? So
and became viable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad days.
Yeah, make
But
sure.
again,
make sure y'all know
I think
y'all's
it's
accountant.
needed. I think it's needed. If y'all need an accountant, I got y'all. That's plain and simple. I mean, we'll set that business up. We'll get you your splits, get you your accounting right. No need for audits, nothing like that. And we're gonna be all right.
He was like, hey, Rory was like, Joe was like, audit me then. And then Rory was like, I don't want to audit my friend. What? I just want to see the accounting.
Man.
Shit crazy out here. Y'all got any last words for Unscripted? Again, much days full effect, but we still managed to shoot a show. Still got some good content out. Thank you everybody that tuned in. Of course, Denzel. I think Dom was in here. Mr. Blackman. Pengasis.
Let's go.
Pekingus. Maybe I'm mispronouncing that wrong, but much love everybody that tuned in. Denzel for being active in the chat.
Indeed.
We are here every 2:30. Every Sunday.
Every 2:30. The dark one and the light one. Just every 2:30.
Every Sunday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern.
Yes. And we will be talking about the hottest things in pop culture, the album of the week, which we're changing, the project of the week. So look out for that. This is our exclusive Twitch channel. So make sure to follow, show some love here. And we will be back. We got some episodes coming out, and that's on the Q Brand YouTube. But until next time, my people.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.